Let's get something straight right from the start. Your mind is either your greatest asset or your worst liability. The way you think, the way you interpret the world, the story you tell yourself, that's what determines your destiny. I've seen brilliant people with all the talent and resources in the world sabotage themselves with negativity. And I've seen ordinary men and women achieve extraordinary things, powered by nothing more than a stubborn, relentless, positive mental attitude. Now, before you roll your eyes and say, "Here we go, another think happy thoughts speech," let me tell you, positive mental attitude is not some syrupy optimism or pretending bad things don't happen. It's a decision to see the possibility in every problem, to look for the lesson in every setback, and to believe stubbornly that you can and will find a way. This isn't just theory. I've interviewed hundreds of the world's most successful people, and every one of them, without exception, pointed to their mental attitude as the starting point for every victory. They weren't lucky. They weren't just born with a silver spoon. They made a choice, over and over again, to guard their mind like a fortress and feed it only what would serve their dreams. Positive mental attitude means you ask better questions when things go sideways. Instead of "why me?" you ask, "what can I learn?" Instead of "this always happens to me," you say, "this is temporary. I'm bigger than this." It's not denial, it's determination. Let's get practical. Think of your mind as a garden. You can't control every weed that tries to pop up. Life throws plenty your way, but you can decide what you plant, water, and nourish. If you're always feeding your mind with worry, anger, blame, or doom, don't be surprised if you harvest stress and regret. But if you make it a daily practice to focus on gratitude, solutions, opportunity, and growth, watch what happens. Problems shrink, energy rises. You become someone who attracts answers instead of drama. Now, some will say, "But Hill, you don't know my circumstances." You're right, I don't. But here's what I do know. There's not a person alive who hasn't faced disappointment, failure, or unfairness. The difference is, some choose to see those events as reasons to quit, while others see them as raw material for a comeback story. Your attitude decides which camp you belong to. I'll leave you with this to start our journey. Your mind is the command center of your entire life. Every thought is a vote for the future you want. Make those votes count. Choose every day to see the best, to expect the best, and to bring out the best in yourself and in others. Now, let's break this down. You might wonder, is it really possible to keep a positive attitude when the world keeps throwing curveballs? My answer, not only is it possible, it's essential. And here's why. Life does not respond to your needs or your wishes, it responds to your expectations, to your belief in what's possible. You attract into your life not what you want, but what you are, and what you expect with conviction. A positive mental attitude is like a magnet for solutions, opportunities, and strong relationships. Ever notice how optimistic people seem to get all the breaks? It's not luck. It's the energy they project, the courage to try, and the willingness to keep searching for answers. Even when others give up, they see doors where others see walls. They hear "no," and translate it as "not yet." They refuse to be defined by circumstances, setbacks, or the opinions of small-minded people. Let's be real. Negative thinking is the default for most. The world is full of complainers, critics, and armchair experts, people who see the dark cloud in every silver lining. They tell you why your dreams won't work, why you're being unrealistic, why you should lower your expectations and settle for what you get. But here's the truth. Nobody ever built anything worthwhile by playing it safe and thinking small. Every breakthrough, every act of greatness began with someone refusing to accept limitations, first in their mind and then in their actions. But let's not confuse positive mental attitude with blind optimism. This isn't about ignoring problems or pretending everything is perfect. It's about facing reality with confidence, refusing to let fear or cynicism set the boundaries of your world. When you have a positive attitude, you don't run from problems, you face them head on, determined to find the lesson, the blessing, or the breakthrough that's hiding in the mess. Now, you might be thinking, that sounds good in theory, but what about when you're stuck in a rut, surrounded by negativity? Here's what I tell people. Attitude is contagious, so be a carrier. When you walk into a room, bring energy, not complaints. Be the thermostat, not the thermometer. Don't just react to the temperature, set it. People are drawn to those who lift them up, who spark hope, who believe in better. Here's a practical exercise. Every time you catch yourself falling into negative self-talk, hit the mental brakes. Pause. Ask, what else could this mean? How can I turn this around? Replace defeatist language with empowering questions. What's good about this? What's the next step? Who can help me? This one habit, practiced daily, will change the entire course of your thinking and your life. You might not control every event, but you can always choose your response. That's your superpower. That's how you become unbreakable. The world is watching, by the way. Your children, your colleagues, your friends, they take their cue from you. Your attitude is the script for your life and for those you influence. So I challenge you. The next time life tests you, choose to see the challenge as a stepping stone, not a stumbling block. Refuse to join the chorus of complainers and critics. Stand out as a builder, a lifter, a believer in what's possible. In the end, positive mental attitude is not about ignoring reality, it's about writing a better one, starting in your mind. It's the ultimate act of personal leadership. And that, my friend, is the first step to transforming not just your results, but your entire life. Let's dig even deeper. If you want to develop a truly positive mental attitude, you have to become the gatekeeper of your own mind. Think about it. Would you let just anyone walk into your home, dump garbage on your floor, and leave? Of course not. Yet every day, people allow negativity, doubt, gossip, fear, envy stroll into their minds and take up residence. It's time to change the locks. Start by being intentional about what you allow into your mental space. Watch the conversations you join, the media you consume, the voices you listen to. If the nightly news, social media, or certain people only leave you anxious and discouraged, it's time to limit their access. Instead, fill your mind with ideas, stories, and people that inspire, challenge, and uplift you. Read books that make you think bigger. Spend time with those who believe in growth. Listen to voices that remind you of your potential. But here's where the magic really happens: gratitude. It's the quickest, most effective way to pivot your mindset from lack to abundance, from stress to possibility. Every morning, before the noise of the world kicks in, take a moment to count your blessings. Not just the big things, health, family, opportunities, but the small ones too. A good cup of coffee, a kind word, a new idea. When you train your mind to look for the good, you'll find more of it, even on the hard days. Now, let's address a common objection. Hill, you don't understand, I'm surrounded by negativity. My answer? Perfect. You have the chance to be the spark in the darkness, the difference maker in your environment. One positive person can shift the mood of a whole room, a whole team, even a whole family. I've seen it time and again. Attitudes are contagious, and the most infectious one wins. Why not let that be yours? But don't get me wrong, there will be moments when doubt creeps in, when setbacks sting, when the path forward is anything but clear. This is when positive mental attitude matters most. It's not tested on your best days, but on your worst. When things go sideways, train yourself to say, there's a way out, there's something I can do. I refuse to be defeated by circumstances. It might sound simple, but it's the habit that separates those who bend from those who break. Let me offer a practical tool. Reframe your setbacks. Instead of thinking, this always happens to me, try, what's the lesson here? How is this making me stronger? When you take ownership of your attitude, you stop seeing yourself as a victim and start acting like the author of your own story. Remember, the mind is like a muscle. The more you train it to focus on solutions, hope, and gratitude, the stronger it becomes. Over time, positivity isn't something you foreset, becomes your default setting. So, from today, decide to be the architect of your thoughts. Guard your mind fiercely. Direct your focus. Speak to yourself as you would to a friend who needs encouragement. And never forget, every breakthrough, every comeback, every victory begins in the mind long before it shows up in your results. Let's move from mindset to action, because positive mental attitude isn't just something you think about while meditating on a mountaintop. It's practical, it's active, it's the fuel for every decision you make and every risk you take. It's easy to smile and think positive when life's a picnic. But what about when you're in the trenches, facing problems that make you want to throw in the towel? That's when your attitude matters most. Positive mental attitude doesn't promise that every day will be easy. It promises that you'll face every day with resilience, creativity, and the expectation that good can come from even the toughest situations. When a problem lands in your lap, you have two choices: complain or create. The complainers talk about what's wrong, the creators look for what's possible. You get to pick your camp. Let's get specific. The next time you hit a roadblock at work, in business, or in your personal life, ask yourself, what's one small step I can take right now? Big breakthroughs are built on small actions, repeated with faith and a good attitude. If you focus only on the problem, it grows. If you focus on the solution, the problem shrinks. Simple, but not always easy. Here's a technique. Practice the positive pivot. When you catch yourself spiraling into negative thoughts, don't just slap a fake smile on it, stop and pivot. Ask, is this thought helping me or hurting me? If it's not serving you, swap it out. Replace I can't with how can I? Replace this will never work with what's another way? You're not lying to yourself. You're giving your mind a fighting chance to find the answer. Let's not forget the power of language. Words shape your world, especially the words you say to yourself. Instead of I'm stuck, try I'm learning. Instead of I always fail, try I haven't succeeded yet. That three-letter word, yet, has changed more lives than 1,000 motivational speeches. It leaves the door open to growth, to progress, to the possibility that things can and will improve if you keep showing up with the right attitude. Here's a challenge. For the next 7 days, be ruthless about what you allow yourself to say and think. No self-pity, no defeatist language, no poor me. Replace every complaint with an action step. Watch how your mood, your energy, even your results begin to shift. One more thing. Positive mental attitude is not just about your own success, it's about how you impact others. When you face challenges with optimism and courage, you give silent permission to everyone around you to do the same. You raise the standard. You become the person others turn to for strength. And isn't that the kind of legacy worth building? Bottom line, attitude isn't everything, but it's the thing that colors everything. Choose yours wisely, and the world will open in ways you never imagined. By now, you might be asking, is a positive attitude really enough to change my circumstances? Let's get honest. Attitude alone won't put money in your bank account or solve every problem. But here's the catch. Attitude is the root from which all your actions grow. A negative attitude shrivels up opportunity before it even knocks. But a positive mental attitude? That's like miracle grow for your results. Every successful person I've ever interviewed has told the same story in different words. They failed, they struggled, they hit brick walls, but they refused to see failure as a dead end. They saw it as a detour, a lesson, or at worst a delay. The key difference wasn't their education, connections, or starting point. It was how they chose to think about what happened to them. Here's the pattern. With a positive mental attitude, setbacks become setups. Instead of saying, why is this happening to me? They ask, what can I learn here? How can I use this? That one shift turns obstacles into opportunities. And opportunities, let's be honest, are rarely dressed up in tuxedos. They usually show up in overalls, looking a lot like hard work and frustration. Let me give you a practical example. Picture two salespeople. Both lose a big client. The first sulks, complains, and tells everyone how unfair life is. The second says, tough break, but now I have time to find 2 new clients. What's my next move? Who do you think rebounds faster? Who do you want on your team? That's not just optimism, it's practical power. Here's another thing. Positive mental attitude attracts allies. When you walk into a room expecting good things, you see possibilities and connect with people who share your vibe. You become a magnet for solution seekers, not problem peddlers. And when you surround yourself with other optimists, your odds of success skyrocket. You don't just feed off each other, you multiply each other's strength. But don't get it twisted. Having a positive attitude doesn't mean pretending bad things never happen. It means refusing to let those things have the final word. It means staying open, curious, and proactive, even when the chips are down. The world is full of talented people who never get off the bench because they let one setback define them. Winners get knocked down like everyone else. They just refuse to unpack and live there. So, how do you put this into practice? Make it your habit to reframe every challenge. When you hear bad news, ask yourself, what's still possible? When someone says no, treat it as not yet. When you fail, remember it's not the end of the story unless you stop writing. And here's a final thought for this section. Positive mental attitude is the greatest insurance policy against quitting. As long as you believe things can get better, you'll keep moving, keep growing, and keep finding ways forward. That's not just wishful thinking, it's how every comeback story begins. Let's get brutally honest for a second. There will be days when think positive sounds about as useful as yelling at the rain to stop. We all have moments when nothing goes right, when setbacks pile up like unpaid bills, and when the future looks foggier than ever. On those days, having a positive mental attitude isn't about slapping on a fake smile or ignoring reality. It's about choosing your response, no matter what life throws at you. If positivity feels impossible, start with something smaller, curiosity. Instead of, why is this happening to me? Try, what can I do with this? Or, what's one thing I haven't tried yet? Sometimes, the leap from despair to hope is too big, so bridge the gap with simple questions. The point isn't to become Pollyanna overnight. It's to interrupt the pattern of negativity long enough to see a new possibility. Another tool, take action. Any action, no matter how small. Don't wait for the perfect plan or perfect mood. Momentum breeds motivation, not the other way around. Make that call you've been dreading. Write down one idea. Go for a walk and let your mind wander. Positive attitude grows in the soil of action, not in the swamp of analysis paralysis. Here's a secret. Your body can trick your mind into positivity. Change your posture, move with energy, put on music that fires you up. Even a forced smile can trigger a shift in your brain chemistry. The connection between mind and body is real. Use it to your advantage. Want to feel better? Move better. Now, let's talk environment. If you're surrounded by complainers, critics, or energy vampires, your optimism will be under constant attack. You wouldn't expect a flower to thrive in a toxic swamp. Don't expect your attitude to survive in negativity either. Be ruthless about the company you keep and the voices you allow into your head. If you can't change your environment, outnumber the negativity with books, podcasts, music, or mentors that remind you what's possible. Remember, attitude isn't something you get once and keep forever. It's like a muscle, you strengthen it with daily reps. There will be days you fall off. There will be setbacks that sting. That's life. But the more you practice, the faster you'll bounce back. One more practical tip: help someone else. Nothing shifts your focus from your own problems faster than offering support, encouragement, or even just a smile to someone who needs it. When you lift others, you lift yourself for a single time. In summary, positive mental attitude is not about being blind to problems. It's about refusing to surrender your power even on the darkest day. You can't always choose your circumstances, but you can always choose your perspective, and sometimes that's all you need to change everything. Let's talk about the power of persistence when it's fueled by a positive mental attitude. You see, optimism alone won't carry you across the finish line. There will be days when the odds are against you, when your plans fall apart, and when you start to wonder if the universe has your number blocked. That's when most people fold. But those with a positive mindset, they just get creative. Here's something you might not hear from every motivational speaker. Sometimes a positive attitude means you laugh at the absurdity of it all. When things go sideways, when your best idea flops, when you get that rejection letter, when your car won't start for the third day in a row, sometimes the best thing you can do is shake your head, chuckle, and say, well, this will make a great story one day. This isn't about pretending problems don't exist. It's about refusing to let them steal your joy, your focus, or your drive. Problems are inevitable. Defeat is optional. And here's the kicker. When you consistently choose optimism, you become more resilient. Disappointment becomes data. Failure becomes feedback. Setbacks turn into setups for comebacks. Let's get tactical. Next time you're hit with a setback, pause and ask yourself, is this really the end or just a detour? Often, what feels like a dead end is just a redirection, a chance to try a new route, meet new people, or learn a lesson you'll need later. That's the positive mental attitude at work. It turns every obstacle into a potential advantage. It's also worth noting, a positive outlook is a magnet for allies. When people see you handling adversity with grace and good humor, they want to be on your team. They trust you'll find a way, even when the path isn't clear. You become a natural leader not because you never struggle, but because you never quit. Don't underestimate the power of celebration either. Take time to acknowledge your progress, no matter how small. Finished a tough week? Treat yourself. Made it through a difficult conversation? Give yourself credit. Small victories stack up. They remind you that you're still moving forward, even when the finish line is out of sight. And when the pressure mounts, remember, you're not obligated to have it all figured out right now. Positive mental attitude means trusting the process, believing that good things are possible, and showing up with your best, day after day, no matter how many curveballs life throws. So when the going gets tough, don't just get going, get laughing, get learning, and keep leaning forward. That's how you build a reputation as someone who can weather any storm and come out stronger, wiser, and yes, maybe with a story that gets better every time you tell it. Let's talk about the ripple effect. When you develop a positive mental attitude, you're not just changing your own life, you're creating waves that reach everyone around you. Ever notice how one upbeat person can lift an entire room, or how a single complainer can turn a staff meeting into a hostage situation? Attitude is infectious, and the strongest one usually wins. Here's the thing, people are always watching, even when you think they aren't. Your family, your coworkers, your friends, they pick up on your energy, your language, your reactions to setbacks. When you keep your head up in tough times, you silently give others permission to do the same. You become a thermostat, not a thermometer. You set the temperature for the whole group. But don't get cocky. Positivity isn't about being loud or overbearing. It's about being consistent, steady, and genuine. You don't need to shout your optimism from the rooftops or turn every conversation into a Tony Robbins seminar. Sometimes it's enough just to be the one who doesn't join the pity party, who asks, "What's the opportunity here?" instead of, "Who's to blame?" Here's a practical way to keep your own attitude in check. Surround yourself with people who are going where you want to go. Jim Rohn said it best. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. If your circle is full of energy, ideas, and ambition, you'll rise with them. If it's all negativity and excuses, you'll sink just as fast. Choose your company like your future depends on it, because it does. Still, even the most positive people have bad days. So what do you do when you catch yourself slipping into old patterns, complaining, blaming, feeling stuck? First, don't beat yourself up. Even optimists get grumpy. The trick is to catch yourself quickly and pivot. Go for a walk, listen to music, call a friend who lifts you up, or simply remind yourself why you started in the first place. You don't need to be perfect, just persistent. And don't underestimate the power of humor. Sometimes the best way to break the tension is with a good laugh, especially at yourself. If you can find something funny in your struggles, you rob them of their power to drag you down. The most successful people I know aren't just resilient, they're witty. They know how to turn a bad day into a good story and a setback into a punchline. Bottom line, when you maintain a positive mental attitude, you become a beacon for others. People will come to you for encouragement, for ideas, and for leadership sometimes when you least expect it. That's a responsibility, but also an incredible opportunity. So keep your light burning bright. You never know who needs it most. Let's face it, the real world isn't always fair, friendly, or easy. But here's what most people miss: positive mental attitude is not about ignoring reality, it's about reshaping it. When you show up each day expecting the best, actively looking for opportunity, and refusing to accept defeat as your destiny, you create your own unfair advantage. People notice, doors open. New ideas land in your lap sometimes because you simply refused to give up when everyone else sat down. Let me ask you, who do you want to do business with, hire, or follow? The person who complains about every problem, or the one who says, "Let's figure this out"? It's no contest. Positive thinkers get picked first, promoted faster, and trusted more. Why? Because they solve problems, they bring energy, and they make life a little better for everyone around them. But let's talk about the inner game. The more you practice positivity, the more you trust yourself to handle whatever comes your way. Confidence isn't about never falling down, it's about knowing you'll get up again and again. Each challenge you face and overcome with the right mindset adds to your personal bank account of self-respect. Pretty soon, you're walking taller, taking bigger risks, and inspiring others to do the same. Here's a trick most never learn. When you focus on what's possible, your mind literally becomes more creative. Instead of obsessing over obstacles, you start seeing solutions. Instead of shrinking back, you lean in. Scientists call this cognitive flexibility. I call it giving yourself a fighting chance. Now, some people worry, if I stay positive, won't others take advantage of me? Listen, being positive doesn't mean being naive. You can set boundaries, make tough decisions, and face facts without turning into a cynic. In fact, positive people make the best leaders because they can see the worst in a situation without losing sight of the best in themselves or their team. Let's get practical. Start each day with a win. Before the world throws its noise at you, set an intention: one thing you'll do, one mindset you'll choose, one habit you'll practice. It could be gratitude, taking action, reaching out to someone, or simply refusing to join the ain't it awful club at the office. Small wins create momentum, and momentum is the fuel for long-term change. And here's the best part. You never know who's watching. Your attitude might be the spark that lights up someone else's day, or the anchor that steadies a team in a storm. Don't underestimate the reach of your own example. To sum it up, positive mental attitude is more than a mood, it's a master skill. Develop it, and you give yourself the edge in every arena of life. Not because you never lose, but because you always find a way to win on thought, one action, one day at a time. So here's where we bring it all home. Maybe you've heard all this before. Maybe positive mental attitude sounds nice on paper, but you're still wondering, does this really make a difference? Will changing my mindset really change my life? My answer is simple: absolutely. And the only way to find out is to try it for yourself consistently, not just on your good days. The greatest opportunities you'll ever have won't show up wearing a name tag or waving a neon sign. They come disguised as hard work, as setbacks, as problems nobody else wants to solve. And it's your attitude more than your education, your background, or your luck that determines whether you even see those opportunities, let alone grab hold of them. Think of it like this. Every day, you're casting votes for the kind of life you want. Every thought, every reaction, every word you say to yourself and others, those are votes for or against your own success. You can't control everything that happens to you, but you can absolutely control how you show up for what happens next. So here's your challenge. For the next 30 days, treat your attitude as the most valuable asset you own. Protect it, nurture it, choose it over and over, no matter what life throws at you. When you stumble, get back up and reset. When you catch yourself complaining, switch to gratitude. When doubt creeps in, remember every challenge is a chance to get stronger, smarter, and more resilient. Don't wait for perfect conditions or outside approval. Start where you are, with what you have, and watch how quickly things begin to shift. Your mind will open to new ideas, your energy will rise. People will respond differently, and bit by bit, you'll realize that you're not just reacting to life, you're leading it. Remember, the world is full of people waiting for something to change. Be the person who changes, no matter what. Be the one who brings hope into the room, who turns setbacks into comebacks, and who sees possibility in every problem. That's what it means to live with a positive mental attitude, not just for a day, but for a lifetime. So, what are you waiting for? Make your attitude your signature move. Let it open doors, build bridges, and turn ordinary days into stepping stones toward the life you truly want. The future favors the bold, the grateful, the resilient, the ones who decide every day to look for the good and act on it. You've got one mind, one life, and one chance to make the most of both. Choose your attitude, the rest will follow.